Alright, so this second video is going to be about Sysbm and the judgment of rude women and disrespectful women. Now, this is a lesson no man taught me. I learned from the Most High and from experience. There's a group of women that I knew. 7 of them, maybe a couple more, but right now I'm focusing on 7 of them. And this group of women, I always remembered hearing them say this information in particular: I don't need a man. Niggas ain't shit. Black man ain't shit. Ain't shit a black man can do for me. Or this one, it ain't shit a black ass man can do for me but tell me where to find a red one at. Or it's nothing nothing a black ass man can do for me but tell me where to find a yellow one at. I heard those things. Niggas don't take care of their kids. They don't do shit. They ain't worth shit. They're nothing. You just gonna be like your no good ass daddy. No good, nothing, worth ain't shit, no count. I heard all that all of my life from this group of women. Them saying it to their kids, to other people on the phone, talking to other women. Now, and then I remember they would have these You Go Girl parties and You Go Girl achievement awards where they would all have all these degrees, and they would talk about how black men aren't educated. They don't speak, what was the word? I can't remember the word right now. Oh, they don't speak articulately. And they're not as articulate as black women. They're not educated. They don't have degrees that we have. I'm doing this and I'm doing that. I'm on a level above him, and so on and so forth. Now, that was what, coming in the early 90s, late 80s on up. Now, I was related to some of these women. And when I was about 18 years old, when I was 17, I left the U.S. for a while. I came back when I was 18, and I moved across country. I moved back to New York City. And I was there for a few years, and I wasn't really around that type of energy. So when I grew up and became a grown man, and I came back to see this same group of women, they were all huddled around each other. The majority of them were still unmarried, and the 1 or 2 that were married were now divorced. And they called each other every morning early, 5, 6, 7 a.m. in the morning. They all have to depend on each other. And I could tell that they're having a hard time having to deal with each other every day, but there's no one else to deal with them. There's no one else to help them. One of them would get out and go change her own oil under her car. And one day I was like, why would you do this shit as a woman? I'm a grown ass man and I don't want to change my fucking oil. I go pay somebody to do the shit. Yeah, I could do it, but why? I can pay someone $20 and get it done. I'm not finna get on there and fuck around with an oil, with the oil filters and shit. Anyway, so I've seen these things. Now I've seen the same group of women they went from saying niggas ain't shit, black men ain't shit, da 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 da. Now they're saying this. I guess I wish I would have got married when I had the chance. I'm too old now to be married. I'm too old and set in my ways, or they see all these black men who supposedly weren't shit there with white women, and they have their biracial children on their shoulders walking through the mall on a Sunday morning. You know what I'm saying? And they're all looking happy and smiling around. Then it's, these black men, now they're not saying black men don't take care of their kids, they don't take care of their families. Now they're saying all black men want is a white woman. They're always trying to get with a white woman or an Asian woman or a Hispanic woman. They don't ever want to do anything with a black woman. They don't take care of black women like they take care of the other women. Now they completely changed everything. Now it's, I wish I had a man to do this. I need a man to do this. I don't feel like doing it. I wish it was a man to do. That's what I hear now, moving forward. So, going back to the judgment of these women, one day, one of these women had contacted me. This was a few years ago. One of these women had contacted me and asked me to come wait outside the airport for an hour to pick her up. This is an older woman. She's about 60. And I told her, I'm busy. I have other things to do. I'm not going to wait at an airport for an hour. What do you mean? So she was shocked when I was like, no, I'm not gonna wait around for you. Like I had all this time to waste. So slowly but surely, some of these are older women in my family, and they call at the time. They would call me to do certain things because I'm not married. I don't have any kids, and I'm gonna get on that too. I wasn't in a relationship at the time, so I started noticing every time I would turn around, these older women were calling me to drive them out of state. Were calling me to come help them move something, come help them do something, come give them a ride somewhere, help them carry something. All the things that their husband would have done had they been respectful and respectable women. Had they respected the men in their community and in their families, and had they respected black men as a whole, they wouldn't be calling me and all these other black men. They wouldn't be calling me and all these other black men in their community. You understand what I'm saying? They would be able to contact their husband to come do these things. But because they were so rude and vicious and disrespectful to these men, now they're alone and they're in dire need of a man, and a black one in particular. And every time I see these women in this position, all I can do is remember how they said themselves. They don't need a man. They don't want a man. It ain't shit a black man can do for them. You know, they were on another level than black men. They had all this education. They were doing this and doing that, and they could do bad all by themselves. And all of those things that they spoke over their lives is exactly what happened to them. So at one point I started feeling like I was being used to take the place of what would have been these people's husband or the men in their lives had they been respectful and not been so dismissive and rude to a lot of these men that came around. So I started telling these females, no, I'm not doing that. Call your sister, call your cousin, call that group of females in the matriarchy and have them do it. I stopped doing all of those things. And the reason I stopped doing all of those things was for this one reason. I realized, I had a relative of mine, she's younger. Every time she decided to be baby mama number 5 or number 6 to a guy that had already 4 or 5 babies with 4 or 5 different babies' mothers, and had never even had an apartment, had been living with his grandma all his life. Anyway, to each his own. So anyway, every time I would turn around, this female would be calling me, asking me how to apply for an apartment, who to call to get an apartment, asking me, how to apply for jobs, what jobs to look for, what type of jobs are high-paying jobs. You know what I'm saying? She asking me just all these questions that you ask grown men. Until one day I said to her, why don't you ask your man that question? Don't ask me. How does he feel about you asking me all of this? I was like, you have a man living in your house. Why are you asking me this stuff? So she says, he doesn't know, and he don't know shit. I had to go to the doctor with him the other day, and I had to talk for him. He couldn't even talk to the doctor and tell the doctor what was wrong. So I said, and you're about to have baby number 5 or 6 with this guy? Well, she starts telling me, she just got caught up in this, that, and the third, and blah, blah, blah. So I said, you know what? If I continue to give the knowledge, I said in a previous video, I grew up without a father. My grandfather was in that place. I had to learn how to apply for credit, apartments, university, get jobs, anything. I had to learn all of that stuff on my own. Nobody gave me any advice. Nobody told me shit. The only intel I received coming up was this: don't get nobody pregnant. Kids will fuck up your life just like you fucked up mine. That's what I received. That's one rule I received. Another one was, if for a black man, there ain't nothing but a job or jail. You either get a job or you go to jail. That's what I was taught. And what was the other? Then I was taught, always give God your time by going to church. Don't ever take time away from God. Always make sure you go to church to give God your time, as if God lives in church, as if he's not all around. Like I had to go serve some pastor. These were the 3 things that I was given, informed of in life. That, this is what I was given to go out into the world. So I had to learn all of these lessons about adulting and being a grown ass man by myself. The Most High was there at all times, even when anyways. But no one came up to me and said, "Oh, young man, let me tell you how to do this. Let me tell you how to." I had to learn all these things on my own. So at some point, I started feeling like I was being used for my information and my experience, because I thought, if you really wanted a man who knew how to be grown and do the things that grown men do, you would have gotten one. You wouldn't have been baby mama number 5 or baby mama number 6. That was your choice. So why are you now calling me when you need a man to tell you what grown ass men do? You need to rely specifically on the man you chose to have a baby with. And if that means he's 36 or 40 years old and he doesn't know how to apply for an apartment, he doesn't have any credit, he's never lived anywhere but with his grandma, that's who you chose to have a baby with. So you have to go through all the struggles and strains with his ass. Don't call me trying to overskip, you know what I'm saying, your choice. Because I feel like at that point, you're using me as an enabler. I'm enabling you to continue to procreate with these types of people, because when it's time to contact a real man, you can call me. So I had to cut a lot of those things off, and I started realizing something. When I was doing a lot of these different things, errands and stuff for these females in my family and other females, older females that I knew, I feel like, they're older, so I was going to do it. But I started realizing something. I was going against the will of the Most High by doing these things, because this now is the judgment of these females. They said they didn't need a black man. The black man wasn't shit. Niggas ain't shit. They don't take care of their kids. They don't take care of their bitches. They said all of this on their own. They said they could do better without a black man. They could do better on their own. They said it. So now they have to live what they've been speaking over the last 30 or 40 years. So the judgment of these women is exactly as they have spoken, to be without a black man. So now they're all in need of everything at all times. And there is no black man anywhere around. They all have to depend on each other, and none of them really want to be bothered with each other, because we know how females are. So all that being said, to say, these same women you see and hear right now talking shit about black men all the time, black men ain't shit, they don't take care of their kids, they don't do all this shit, blah, 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 all that stuff. I'm telling you, there's no point in arguing with them. There's no point in having any conversations or discussion or giving them any attention, because I've seen it with my own eyes. Their judgment is going to be to live the life that they have spoken over themselves. And at that time, they'll realize the value of a black man, because they're going to have to live the rest of their days without one. So this is their judgment. Everything up in flames. Hey, I know a lot of these women, they've been working jobs where they're getting paid over $100,000 a year. They've been on these jobs for 20 years and still don't have any money. I know them with professional degrees and doctorates. And when I was unemployed, they were calling me, asking me for $50. You guys, I'm telling you right now, the judgment of these women is harsh and severe, but they don't realize it until it sets in and it hits. So all that being said, to say, I'm just telling you, I pulled away. I stopped doing all those things for those females, because I was like, these women don't deserve any of this, and their judgment is to have to do it all on their own. They said they didn't need a man and they could do it by themselves. This is exactly what they're going to have to do now. It's not a choice now. They must do it all by themselves. And I suggest you guys, if you're in that situation where you're doing all this extra shit for all these women in your family that don't have any men in their lives, stop. Really sit down and think about what you're doing and why they're in a position as to why they don't have a man in their life to take care of certain things. And if it's because they were rude and disrespectful and low down to men, especially black men in their community, you have to let them bear out that judgment. Like I said before, let them struggle. That's what they wanted to do. It sounds harsh, but it's their judgment now. If they want to change their mind, they can. But until then, you got to let them do on their own. That's what they wanted. That's the taking responsibility for your choices. That's that.